Yo, welcome back guys to another commentary video. We got me on the left playing Labrynth and my buddy Tyson on the right playing Swordsoul. Now, fun fact, I love the Swordsoul deck. Honestly, I think it's a blast to play. Mid-range decks are honestly a lot of fun to play in my opinion. I think they're a lot of the times very skillful or skill intensive too. You have to be pretty good at reading your opponent also while playing through hand traps and resource management. So I think this deck's really fun to watch too. Now Tyson, he took a little bit of a break from Yugioh to play One Piece. I'm not sure if he's still playing One Piece, but I know he's moving back to our area, so he's also going to be playing Yugioh a little bit more too. So he was playing Runic for Hire, and now he sold that and he's on Swordsoul because it's his buddy who had the Swordsoul deck let him borrow it since he sold all of his all his Runic and For Hire cards. So Tyson's a pretty good pilot whenever it comes to this kind of deck right here, so feel free to take some notes. There's one misplay that I can remember, and I'll address that whenever we get there. But right here, obviously, if you don't know the Swordsoul deck, it's a synchro-based deck. Gets a lot of advantage whenever the main deck monsters are used for synchro material. So it's very fun to play. So right now, Tyson's got a Monk, a Shishao, Longyan, and a Swordsoul token on the board. For anyone that doesn't know, the Swordsoul main deck monsters, they have unique effects to summon tokens that are also tuners. So instead of the monsters themselves, the main deck monsters being tuners, they create tuner tokens, which is pretty neat. But he's got a level 6 Swordsoul and a level 4 tuner on the board right now, and this threatens a Baron. Well, I guess since I'm pretty sure he used the Tenyi Ashuna, so he's probably locked into Worms right here. But either way, I don't want him to get a level 10 Synchro, because that can be pretty dangerous. So right here, what I do is I activate a Ku-Clock, and then activate Arius, and then to set the Daruma Cannon, and since I pitched Arius, that triggers Ku-Clock to add back to hand. I can either add it back or special summon it. And then since the trap was set by Arius, I don't need to control a Fiend in order to activate it. He passes over after I Daruma Cannon him, sending his token and his Monk of the Tenyi to the grave, and then setting the Longyan and setting the Shishao. I go draw, standby, activate an Extrav, banish for 6. He's got the Ash Blossom, totally fine here because I think I have a pretty good setup already. You can kind of see it in my hand. I think I have an Arius, a Ku-Clock, and a Welcome Labrynth, so it's a good setup right here. Right here, I'm reading that the back row is an Imperm, and I think I even call it to Tyson. I say, wow, I feel like that, is definitely an Imperm. If it was a Blackout, I don't think he would have said it because it can't even activate. You have to target a worm for that. So, read Tyson like a book right there, and my Arius is going to get negated by the Ku-Clock, pitch it, set my Welcome, activate it. Now I'm thinking on the, what I should summon here. I'll probably end up going for a Lovely, because I think in this position, that's really the only one that's going to make sense right here. And I misplayed. I should have special summoned the Arius back whenever he impermed my Labrynth Ariana, but it's going to happen. Summoning out the Lovely here. Realistically, this is the only choice that makes sense because with nothing else in my hand and no other set back row, Lovely helps clear the board and set a trap for the follow-up. And I'm going to set the Daruma Cannon because it's, it completely shuts down this kind of deck right here. He draws for turn. He's thinking right here. He doesn't have too many plays available to him. He's got an Ashuna and a Vishuddha engrave. Nothing else. I don't think I know either of the cards in his hand. You can kind of take a peek right here. It looks like an Anhara and a Longyan, I believe. He's thinking on his plays right here. He's got a couple different options. Specialing the Anhara, going into a Monk. Now, you could have definitely made the argument that I could have just Daruma Cannoned either the Monk right here or the Anhara on the summon, but you'll see that I'm taking a little bit to think right here. And, this is a very, very simple game state right here. But when you think about the you think about the plays that Swordsoul has, Tyson over here still has, I believe, 3 emergence in the deck and possibly 2 Taya. If you know what Taya does, it's a normal summon and then an ignition effect to banish a Swordsoul card or a worm from grave and summon a token. And that opens up plays to a Baxia line that could Book of Moon, or not Book of Moon, but it can spin back 2 cards from the field to the deck. And if I Daruma Cannon his Monk or his Adhara on summon, and he has a normal summon Taya or an emergence in hand, I get heavily punished right here. This is the misplay that Tyson made though. He has a Vishuda access in his graveyard, and he chooses to bounce back my Lovely. That goes to show, like, this is not a diss to Tyson by any means, but he does not know what the Labrynth deck does. If anything, he would definitely be bouncing back the back row, because that's the real threat. It's not Lovely right here. But he knows he misplayed, he feels it. So if he were to bounce back that back row, I could either chain it and send his Monk and Book of Moon my monsters, and in his position, that'd be totally fine. Getting rid of his Monk, he still has the Longyan in hand and Adhara in hand, because Adhara can banish itself to add back an Adhara, which is completely fine. It just can't add back the same exact copy. What he's thinking right here is he's contemplating an Ashuna line. So he's trying to make the best out of his misplay. I believe right here he's going to go with Ashuna, banish itself, and what he's trying to do here is set up a Baxia line, but I think he's going to do it a little bit backwards, and I'm going to allow him to go back if this is the right instance that I'm remembering. But definitely going for a Baxia line is correct here for sure. He's going to summon that Adhara, and he still has, looks like he has an Adhara in hand. He's got the Longyan in hand. There we go. So right here, I absolutely have to Daruma Cannon him right here. There is no other instance where I'm going to be able to. Because he could either, he can Synchro off, but he also has a possible Yazi line, and Yazi line gets him a lot of advantage if it resolves. So I don't want him to even get that on board, because one way or another I'm gonna have to clear it. So I just Daruma Cannon the board right here, and honestly, I'm looking at a top deck situation. Looks like I top deck Call by the Grave, so I flip summon Ariana. Attack into his Adhara. Now I think that's all of his Adharas. He's got 2 in grave, and maybe, I want to say he has 1 banish, but I'm not completely sure on that. So in this position, my top decks I feel are going to be a little bit better than his top decks, and right here we're contemplating, neither of us have played Swordsoul in a long time, so the question right now is, does a face down monster, is that considered a non-effect monster? Because if it is, then he can activate his Adhara to banish and add a worm from the banish to the hand. But if it's not, then he doesn't really have any plays right here. So he's looking it up right now, and I think we eventually ask somebody, I'm pretty sure. It's either for this ruling or another ruling that comes up later on in the video, but either way, for all of the Tenyis, they have, similar first effects where if you control no effect monsters, then you can special summon themselves, which is pretty neat. But you can see he just passes back right here. I get really lucky in top deck in Ariana, and honestly, that's just game right there. In a simplified game state like this, there's not a whole lot he can really do. So, searching a stove, activating stove, pitching Lovely, setting a big welcome. That pretty much ends the game right there. Coup Clock activates on resolution. You can add back to the hand. I'm gonna add it, pitch it, activate big welcome. I'm gonna pick up my deck because I think summoning from there is correct, but it's actually not. So I put it back down, summon the Lovely, and then bounce one of the Arianas, and that triggers Lovely to pop, and then Stove to summon and welcome the set. So right here, Tyson's on no cards. He's just gonna scoop it up right here. There's absolutely nothing he can do. He top decks an Infirm, realizes there's if it was a set or a draw Taya for turn, then maybe you could kind of debate playing, but it's not, so we're gonna go right into game 2. Whoop. Skated past the start a little bit, but here we go, game 2. Starting off strong with the Longyan pitch Moye. So I'm going to token. This threatens a Baron line right here, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Protects him from any hand traps. Longyan effect, when it's used for synchro material and sent to grave, it burns for 12. Normal summon Moye. Reveals a Swordsoul card or a worm to special summon a tuner token, level 4. So this obviously, it can threaten a Shisha play, which, you know, he's considering his options right here, but that's realistically, you know, almost all it does. Activating Vessel. Vessel is such an insanely strong card. I mean, I'm gonna Ash it. I'm gonna attempt to Ash. He's gonna let it go through. I think he's scared of Nib. He thinks I'm gonna have a Nib, so he values, you know, the negate more than, or he values the possible negate on my turn more than the negate on the Ash right here. Which, I mean, realistically, when you're looking at the game state, he's got 2 cards in hand and a Shishao Search and Moye Draw, so, you know, letting that Vessel get negated is fine. He's going to search a Taya, that's for next turn. But I mean, honestly, not negating the Ash is really smart on his part, because he can, you know, this opens up possibilities for negating like a furniture piece, or even negating a big welcome, you know, anything like that. I'm going to activate Stove right here, pitching the Lovely. I think he's probably going to think right here. He's negating, and then I draw for turn. So, starting the turn with only 3 cards, I'm going to banish 6 from the extra deck to activate Extrav. There we go right here. I'm going to ask if it resolves. If he has Ash right here, that'd be really strong, but he doesn't, so fortunate for me. Draw 2 cards. Looks like I have Call by, Extrav, different dimension grounds, and the last card is a Chandelier. Honestly, this doesn't look too good for me, so I'm going to scoop it up right here and go straight into game 3. I mean, very strong opening by Tyson. It's you know, made a really good read that he doesn't need to negate the Ash. Some people would get really greedy with it and just negate so they can go plus infinity, but, you know, played it very well. Alrighty, here we go, heading right into game 3. I'm going to be going first. My hand is solid. I mean, I don't know if there's a reality where I lose this game. But starting with Extra, banishing 6, it looks like I have Daruma Cannon, Imperm, and can't really tell what the other cards are in hand, but I'm going to ask him if that resolves. He says it's good, so looks like I have all traps in my hand. Saw Judgment in there. There we go. Set 1, set 2, set 3, set 4, and 5 right there. Easy set 5 pass, so if I don't have Judgment, there are some times where I don't negate or where I don't set my whole hand, but since I have the Judgment right here, you know, I feel completely safe. He goes into battle phase evenly. I have the Judgment for that. I ask him if there's a second one. He says you're good. So we go right into main phase 2. He's gonna normal summon the Moye. He normal summons Moye, doesn't activate the effect, and that's how I know that his hand is absolutely ass. And now he tributes it for the circle and adds the Ashuna. I know right here that he's gonna pass turn without almost anything on his board, because that's how bad his hand is. I mean, if you're gonna normal summon Moye and not activate the effect and tribute it for circle, you're not looking too good. He's going to special summon Ashuna, go right into a Monk. You can see one of the other cards in his hand is Ghost Ogre. That card does absolutely nothing in this matchup. I mean, the most you're going to get out of it is linking off or synchroing for maybe a Yazi play. I'm going to activate Dogmatica Punishment, destroying his Monk, sending Guru, drawing a card. Just getting free advantage right here. He's going to pass it over to me. In the end phase, I'm going to activate Big Welcome. Special summon Ariana, bounce it back to hand. That's just a setup for my next turn, so I get a free search. Draw for turn. Looks like I have Field Spell, Ariana, I think maybe an Imperm. Normal summon Ariana, activate the effect. I mean, in this position, there's almost no world where Tyson wins this with Swordsoul. I mean, it's almost impossible. A lot of their combos are 2-card combos. I think he's down to maybe 3 cards in hand. Oh, he's got a Spooky Dogwood, Ghost Ogre, and I think that's an Ecclesia. And he draws the Ash Blossom for a turn. He's got 3 Ghost Sisters in his hand. Not looking good at all. He special summons the Ecclesia, tributes it off. Probably going to summon a Taya here because the other 2 Sword Souls don't really do anything. Yep, summoning the Taya, check his grave. Doesn't have a whole lot there. He's also checking his grave. Activating, it looks like he's going to activate Taya, banishing the monk. What he's trying to do here is getting a token. Activating Imperm to negate the Taya. He's going to normal summon the Ghost Ogre. And this is what I was talking about with the Yazi play right here. If I didn't have like a cannon or something to stop it. Activating Big Welcome, he's going to Ash it right here. So that's fine. Checking my grave, seeing what options I have. And then I'm contemplating the Daruma Cannon. I mean, I don't really get punished by too much right here. I think he's got 2 cards in his hand. Or 1 card actually, and it's the Spooky Dogwood. So flip everything face down. I think I have an Imperm. Maybe I can't really see my hand because there's excessive hand shuffling going on. But I definitely have another Daruma hand or cannon in hand. So if anything, that can stun him for the next turn too. He's looking up the translation for the circle. I think it's Heavenly Dragon Circle. I think that might be the right name. But he's asking if you have to have another non-effect monster on the field to face up on the field to activate the second effect to search, and I believe you do. So it's not going to do him too much good right here. My top deck was a Stove for the turn. I'm checking out the grave, seeing my options. Checking out his grave, seeing what his follow-up could be. Activating Stove, pitching Imperm. Probably going to set a Big Welcome here. Oh, regular Welcome. Okay. That gives me a special summon and a free pop because I had the field spell up. Normal summoning Ariana because it has to bounce a Fiend, so that card needs to be face up on the field. Then I'm going to normal summon Ariana. Probably going to search a Kuklok here, I'd imagine, since I have that Welcome on the board. Yep. Easy play right here. I mean, the only other option I really had for this turn is just passing it over to Tyson, letting him play for another turn. But if I can end the game right here, or at least put him on no cards, then you know that's going to be a better scenario. So I activate the Welcome Labrynth. He chains the Spooky Dogwood. Just a dead card in his hand. He's trying to survive another turn, so hoping I special summon a little bit more. Gonna summon the Lovely, and then telling him that there's an applied effect from the field spell to pop a card. So destroying his Taya, that triggers the Stove to summon back. And then setting the other Welcome that was in the grave. Attacking with Ariana. Actually, I think I probably attacked with Lovely because I don't think Ariana can get over the Ghost Ogre, and then attacking directly with the Ariana. I show him what I set. He's got 1 card in hand, has the Ashuna. Said, great. Activate Big Welcome. I'm going to pop it, put him on no cards, nothing in grave that can activate without a non-effect monster on field. So, bouncing the Stove, popping the Ashuna, and I think he probably realizes right here that it is going to be game over for him. Draw for 1 more turn. There we go. He scoops it up. That is going to be the end of that game. I mean, props to Tyson for sticking in there. Absolutely clean sweeped me on that game too. He set up a really solid board, but it's just Swordsoul is it's a deck that's been power crapped. It takes a lot of skill to pilot, and even with all that skill, it's hard to win even after that. So that's all for this match. I appreciate you guys for sticking to the end. Let me know what I can do better as far as commentary, matches, anything you guys want to see, anything to improve the channel. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.